All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to day two of our 30 Pillars of a Profitable Trading Plan event. And of course, this is Synergy Traders number 56. And this is brought to you by TradeOutLoud.com and TimingResearch.com. And of course, just a reminder, all of these presentations are for educational purposes only. Trading is not suitable for all people. Please consult a financial advisor and only trade with money you can afford to lose. All of these sessions are being recorded individually, and they will be available on TimingResearch.com as soon as I can get them processed and posted. Also, if you search for Timing Research on YouTube, Substack, or your favorite podcast app, you can find them there as well. So to open the day for us, day two, we have Brian McAboy of Inside Out Trading. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him.
Cool. Thank you, David. Yeah, thanks for putting us on. And everybody that's here, thank you. And I applaud you for taking time out of your day to, seek to become a better trader. It's investing the time in yourself is extremely worthwhile. Not always just buying, stuff, indicators and strategies and books and that kind of stuff, but investing in yourself, definitely a good thing to do. It'll pay you for the rest of your life. So good call on that. As far as this presentation today, I'm excited to share this with you because, and this is not just cliche or hype. What you're about to hear and learn is a very different perspective on trading and how to get consistent profits. I know consistent profits is like the big buzzword. Every trading website you go to, here's how you make consistent profits. It's like, here, buy our strategy that you'll make consistent profit. Buy our tennis shoes, they'll help you make consistent profits. Everybody's promising that. But what you're going to learn here is actual real world. This is how you establish a consistency in what you're doing with your trading to realize consistent profits. My background is engineering, and you're going to see that as we get going. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Welcome to Profit Assurance, how consistency first is the key to predict profits. It's brought to you by Brian McAboy of Inside Out Trading. That would be me. Now, as David said, disclaimer, this presentation is for educational purposes only. It's not intended to induce anyone to initiate any investment or trade. Your trading results are entirely your responsibility. Now, why is this important and why should you pay attention? Well, really, and I mean this with all sincerity, because I have so many people come to me on a regular basis and they've been struggling with their trading for an extended period of time and they're stuck and they're tired of the same old solutions. And the thing is, without what you learn here today, you will likely continue to be stuck with the same old tired solutions that haven't worked so far. And you'll still be settling for less than you should be making from your trading. I mean, that's really the bottom line to it. The other thing is you'll be stuck with that crappy feeling that you want your trading to work, but you don't know what to do to fix it. And that's where when I'm talking to traders, it's where they're feeling very discouraged. They're starting to wonder if is anybody making any money? It's very futile. It's almost like, am I wasting my time even trying? And so I want to help you get past that. Now, in case you're curious, if this, just to put things in perspective, and one of the things I love about quality assurance, that's my background. And numbers put things in perspective. I regularly survey both on interviews, and I'll survey my subscriber list from time to time, and just put it out there also once in a while on like LinkedIn or whatever. How long have you been trading? And the average is 4.6 years of what I've collected so far. The average trader that's coming to me looking for help has already been trading for 4.5 years, almost 5 years. And when I ask them and I put a scale out there, it's like, are you happy? Are you're struggling? You're hating it. You're doing terrible. How happy are you with your trading? The average answer that I get back, 82% of these traders that have been trading for nearly 5 years are still not happy with their trading. I mean, some are surviving, they're treading water, maybe at break even, others are losing money. But 82% of them are saying, well, no, I'm still not really happy where my trading's going the way I want it to go. And so that's a big deal. So if you would throw in the chat, how long have you been trading? Again, I'd like to ask the question. If you would throw it in the chat, how many years you've been trading? And the other question, go ahead and also throw it in there on a 1 to 10. How happy are you with your trading? 10 being you're absolutely thrilled, you're making money hand over fist, life couldn't be better. So if you would go and throw those in the chat, and I'll go and keep going. Now, here's the thing: if consistent profits is your goal, then this might just be what you've been looking for all along. I kid you not. So who's ready to get very intentional and start making predictable profits with your trading? Marcia, 1 year still earning. Yep, cool. Marcia, I'm thrilled you're here. This will serve you very well, especially being this early in your trading career. Awesome. So, okay. And yeah, what I'm talking about here with this approach you're learning today, this is about being very intentional, and the objective, yes, making predictable profits. Now, I have two goals in being here today, and neither of them is to sell you anything. I don't have a pitch to sell you anything on this presentation today. At the end, I do have a gift for you, and actually, I'm going to give it to you here in a minute because I want you to have it. I want you to stick around because you're finding this useful and helpful, not because you're going to get some free thing at the end of it. And so my first goal is that I want to show you a proven process for making predictable profits in your trading, maximizing those profits and minimizing losses along the way without having to rely on discipline, willpower, mental tricks, or massive emotional control, and without having to switch strategies or platforms or brokers. The way you're going to discover today to approach your trading, you can trade with whatever strategy you like. This is not predictable profits are not predicated by you having some magic, clever strategy. There are lots of strategies that will work. There are literally dozens of strategies that have been out there for decades. They're proven to work. We're using them every day in the markets to make money, and they're freely available. So it's not some magic strategy. So my second goal, if I deliver on the first, I want to get you to consider a different approach to your trading and possibly booking a call with me to learn more. And really, that's all. If you want to book a call and discuss your situation, if you like what I'm talking about, you think it'll work for you, cool, book a call with me. We'll talk about it. But that's about as big a pitch as we've got. So, I mean, it's fair enough. Does that sound reasonable? I want to give you good content and make this helpful for you today. So, real quick, before we get started, like I told you, I do have a gift for you. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat. So you don't have to wait till the end. Go ahead and go download this, and then keep listening. But the link's in the chat. You can go pick up this free report. It's called Break the Cycle: 10 Things You Can Do in the Next 19 Minutes to Interrupt the Patterns of the Past and Stop Handing Back Your Profits. Because all of us know what it's like to be in this cycle where you make some money, then you do stupid things, you give it all back, and then you get serious again and repeat. And this short report literally is 10 things that are pattern interrupts so that you can start disrupting this pattern and get on to just plain making money and stop with the doing stupid things and giving it all back. So that's my gift for you. The link's in the chat. You can go get it right now. You don't have to wait till the end of the webinar. Yeah. Okay. Now, what we're going to cover today, the common mistakes that traders make that keep them stuck and struggling to make profits, usually for years. You're going to learn a few simple truths about trading that will free you from certain limiting beliefs. And this is really important. One of the biggest things when you're wanting to affect change with your trading or whatever you might be doing is you really have to start with certain beliefs or misconceptions that keep you from making progress and moving forward. Because so long as you've got things in your head that are preventing you from moving forward, it really doesn't matter what else you do. We got to address these. So this is really important. Now, this profit assurance framework that you're going to learn today, there are three parts to it, and you're going to see all three of them. You're going to finally have a clear framework for making and keeping your profits with your trading, a framework that makes sense and has been proven to work for years. This is really cool. Now, understand something, though, because I run into this once in a while. If you've been trading for a while and believe that you already know all there is to know about trading successfully, I can't help you. If you're sitting there thinking, yeah, it's some psychological hack or, some, clever indicator or some trick and yeah, I've heard it all before. If your mind is closed, I can't help you. You must have an open mind at least an hour. So can you, for an hour, be open to the possibility that there's something you haven't run across before? The possibility that you've been missing something even after all this time and all the things that you've tried. Be open to the possibility that, hey, maybe there is something that you've missed along the way. If you can do that, cool. Seriously, this very likely is the one thing, because I've had so many traders tell me this. This is the one thing that they needed to finally turn the corner. This is the one thing that we're missing. Now, this is critical because it's common. There's a very common mistake traders make. A lot of traders, and I've done this too. I'm not judging. A lot of traders will just keep putting in the time. They just keep trading. And the thing is, nothing really changes though. So even after the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year, nothing's really changed. Yeah, they've got 5 years in, but nothing's really changed. And that's the thing. They stay stuck in the same rut month after month, year after year, and it's terrible. But unfortunately, it's a reality of trading. Again, today you're getting a perspective that's very different, and I know that it will be very helpful. And here's the thing: it's different because it has its origin from outside of trading. This is not something that came from inside the trading world. You're about to discover the secret weapon from the business world that's been responsible for literally billions of dollars of profit. And it's even brought one country back from the brink of ruin, yes, an entire country, to become an economic superpower. It's really cool. Now, the cool thing is, even though yes, this is a big thing, it's been used by businesses and industries and even countries. As an individual trader, you can use the same framework in your trading for your personal gain. Okay, so what is this framework? Enough with the mystery, right? What's this magic methodology? Well, I like to think of it as success by design. It's seriously. Some people talk about it as a process-based approach. I also call it the science of consistency. Most people know it as quality assurance. Now, most everybody's heard of quality assurance, but not many people know what it really is all about. And the thing is, when you apply it to trading, the cool thing is, and you're gonna learn more about how it applies to trading, but I call it profit assurance. One of the cool things in the quality world, and it took place about 50 years ago. For the longest time, you heard the term quality control, and quality control in a manufacturing environment is where whatever you're making, it's you're just pumping product down the line, and you get some inspectors on the line, making sure the things are okay, and picking off bad product to keep it from getting out the door, right? So that was quality control. Well, in the late 70s, mid 80s, Japan adopted quality assurance as a philosophy, and they hired Edward Deming to come help them with their most notably in the automotive industry, but really getting quality in hand and getting very process focused, because they said, well, instead of just looking at product going down the line, we're going to focus on the process and make sure that the process is so solid that we don't even have to worry about what's going down the line. We know it's good. We have that predictable output from what we're doing. And the whole mentality shifted from quality control, just try to keep it from getting out the door, to no, let's make sure we're making good product. And again, that's the whole mentality of quality assurance. And with trading, it's a similar mentality. It's like, instead of just, let's just keep placing trades and, hopefully we don't screw up and, give it all back. It's like, no, let's get process focused on what we're doing so that we know what our output is going to be. We know very likely and very clearly what we can look forward to as far as our profits, not hoping and being subject to the whims of the markets. So that's why I call it profit assurance. It's about approaching your trading in a very intentional and calculated manner to achieve desired outcomes in a consistent and predictable manner. And that's why I love quality assurance. It was so cool when I got into the field. And the best thing about it was, I'm a certified quality engineer. I used to work in manufacturing, and my quality assurance experience is what allowed me to turn my trading around after I blew up my account and lost over $47,000. It was only when I took what I was doing in the manufacturing world, and with all the quality assurance, the principles and the practices and all that I learned there, and I applied it to my trading, and it's like, wow, yes, this works. And for over 15 years, it's helped hundreds of traders turn their trading around in just a matter of a couple of months, even after years of struggle. I kid you not. This is one of my favorite clients, Mondo Olivo. He had been wrestling with the same thing with FOMO and chasing trades. He had been wrestling with it for literally 8 years. Couldn't get past it. And within a couple of months, he's sitting there saying, wow, for the first time in my trading career, I feel truly confident that I can make a living from the markets. And the change in him was amazing. And here's the best thing about it. This has a psychological impact, of course, But the best thing about it is it's not like you got to spend a year on a therapist's couch. This is a skill set. And you can learn a skill set in a pretty short period of time. You don't have to spend a year trying to figure out, some deep issues. This is practical and it's learnable. Now, where this came from, um, just a real quick, and I already gave you part of it, the backstory. Like I said, I used to work in quality assurance in manufacturing. My degree was mechanical engineering from the University of Kansas. I went to work for a company called Johnson Controls, making plastic beverage bottles for like Coke, Pepsi, Gatorade, and all that kind of stuff. And it was this high speed, high volume, razor thin margin operation. And and we had hard customers. And so we had almost zero margin for error. If we shut a customer down for a quality issue, they could bill us for up to $25,000 an hour. So we had to be getting it right. We had to run well. And it was my job as the quality manager to not only make sure that the equipment and the processes on the machines were right, we had to get consistent performance out of all the people there. And in my plant, I had 183 people that I was responsible for getting consistent performance out of all 183 people across 4 shifts, across 7 different departments, and 30 some different jobs. And I was the one, again, where it was my responsibility to make sure that everybody's doing things according to best practices and we're getting consistent results. Things are always getting done right. And so, like I said, but that was absolutely perfect when it came to trading. It's like, okay, here's an activity. How do we get a handle on it? So yes, it's running to best practice and we're getting very consistent output from it. So that's where this came from. Now, let's take a look at the profit assurance framework and how you can apply it to your trading starting today. Seriously, of course, there's details to it, but as far as the overview, you can start applying this to your trading and what you're doing today. So there's 3 stages to it. The first one is establish consistency. Now, the funny thing is most traders get it backwards. Everybody's sitting there saying, I want consistent profits. I just want to make consistent profits, but everybody's doing it backwards. Most everybody says, well, I want to get profitable and then I'll figure out how to be consistent with it. It's like, no, here's the thing. If you establish the consistency first, that's pretty easy to adjust and make it more profitable. But if you don't have the consistency, if your trading's all over the place, that's hard to fix. So that's why I say establish the consistency first, because here's a very simple truth about trading. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind seriously for the rest of your trading career, because this is like the secret to making money in trading. You can have a decent strategy. Doesn't have to be a great strategy, because a decent strategy executed consistently will outperform and make more money than a great strategy that's executed inconsistently. That is a simple truth of trading. You can take an average strategy and make way more money with it than some guy over here who's got the most clever thing on the planet, but he can't execute it consistently. So that's a simple truth. So the first thing is we want to establish consistency. Now, a lot of times when I throw that out there, people say, oh, but the markets are so uncertain. How do you deal with the uncertainty of the markets? Well, there are variables to the markets, of course. And yes, there is an element of uncertainty to the markets, but there also is an order to the markets. And there are these windows of predictability. If you look at every trading strategy that ever has been produced, whether it's technical, fundamental, or whatever, there are windows of predictability that appear and you can see it in the charts, but there are windows of predictability that appear every now and then, and sometimes very frequently, where the same thing happens over and over and over and over again. And that's where every strategy is based. It's because some trader was sitting there looking at the charts and is saying, hey, I keep seeing the same thing in the charts over and over and over again. And now I can take a look at it, and if I can recognize the beginning of it, cool, I know what to expect. It's no longer uncertain unless something disrupts the playing out of that pattern or whatever it is that just happened. Because all the markets, they reveal our edge as traders, is when we see these windows of predictability where there's something going on, a pattern playing out, where we can say, I can recognize the beginning of that, and now I can get in on the beginning of it, and I know what to expect. Things are predictable, and if you think about it, it really does make sense. If the markets were truly random and it was just total uncertainty, when you look at a chart, it would look like a scatter plot, not like the charts that we see. But it doesn't. The charts, you see the price moves, and there is an order to the markets, because the markets are people and computer programs. Well, there's a huge predictability to humans, the way we respond to things. And of course, computer programs, that's exactly what the programs are doing, is they have a programmed response to certain things in the markets. So there's a huge element of order and predictability to the markets. It's just a matter of knowing how to capitalize on it. And that's what we do. That's what we're doing as traders. So here's the thing, and this is one that you can apply right now, and this is huge. Seriously, this is huge. So many traders will mistake a good strategy for a good system, but they are not the same. Okay, so what's the difference? A strategy is how you're going to get in and out of the market and make money. Like, I'm going to, get in at the beginning of the trend and exit when it's exhausted. That's a strategy. A system is how are you going to do that 500 or 1,000 times consistently? That is your system. And so the two are not the same, though, and there's so many pure marketers out there selling trading strategies. Fortunately, not as many as there were a few years back. There's still a lot of them, and they're selling these strategies. And it's, oh, look at this magic strategy I have. I got in here and I got out here. Look at all this money I made. You can do it too. And the thing is, that's a strategy. But as far as being able to do it over and over and over and over again in a dynamic environment that is the markets, that's the trick. And this is why you can't be a variable. You need to be as consistent as you can. Now, one of my favorite questions to ask people is, what is a trading system? So let's take just a quick second, throw it in the chat, because I mean, the common answer that I get is, first, what is a trading system? A lot of times people say, well, it's my indicators, it's my rules and indicators, it's my charts. When somebody asks you what is a trading system, how do you answer that? Seriously, so go and throw it in the chat. I'm curious to see what you guys have got. T Downey. Yeah. Now selling their bots and algo AI scams. Okay. A trading system. Now, the thing is, when I ask the question, and that's the answer that I get, okay, mechanical and repeatable system. Okay. Fair enough. That is a very valid perspective. Mechanism to consistent trades. Yes. Valid, again, very valid perspectives. But here's the thing. The indicators and your mechanism, those are tools. Those are part of a system. Your trading system is what you do. It's your process for identifying, entering, exiting. It's basically your process for placing trades, step by step by step. That's your trading system. That's your system. It's not the indicators and rules. It's what you do. And so when you've heard the age-old wisdom, document your trading system. This is where so many people get bunched up, because they're sitting there, they'd say, they're sitting there trying to think and they're thinking in terms of like charts and indicators and slope on a moving average and that kind of stuff. And that can be really hard to document. It's like, no, if you want to document your trading system, and again, this is a takeaway. If you haven't done it already, take a few minutes sometime today and simply write down what you do when you're placing trades, and you will have documented your trading system. That is a great starting place, because without that clarity, you're going to run into so many issues. And here's the thing: most traders, I actually ran the numbers a while back, 98.2% of traders are working with processes that have built-in inconsistency. From a functional perspective, again, being a quality assurance engineer, I know what a good process looks like. I know what are the things that will create inconsistencies and reduce consistent output. And I know what makes for good processes. And nearly all traders out there are working with processes that have built-in inconsistency. It's built into their system itself. Now, I actually sat down and listed them out a while back, because I was talking with one of my clients, and he asked me to go in and list them out, and we were talking about it. And I was thinking, there would be like 5 to 7, characteristics that make for a really good, predictable process that yields, predictable output. When I got to listing them out, there are actually 14 different characteristics. And the thing is, the more of these characteristics that your trading system doesn't have, the tougher it's going to be to get consistent results out of that. It really is. So, and so you keep that in mind. It's like having a consistent process is one of the most key things. And unfortunately, most traders, what they're working with, you can be doing your darndest to stick to the rules that you have, or what you do have in mind, or your strategy. But if you're missing these characteristics, it's going to be tough to execute consistently, and that is the whole key. Because remember, we were saying, a good strategy executed consistently is what you're looking for, and that consistent execution is the tough part. Okay, so stage one, we want to document our process and then really dial it in so that it has that consistency, so that we have a very, very consistent, very clear, very repeatable process for placing trades. That's when we can get consistent, predictable results. That's the first part. Got to have a consistent process. The second thing that we got to have, and you have to have this as well, is confidence. You can have a perfect system, but if you're sitting there wrestling with it out of fear, you're going to be making mistakes. You're going to have a hard time executing. And as you know from your own experience, and I do as well, most mistakes that are made in trading are made from fear in one form or another, either FOMO, that you're chasing trades because you're missing out, or your fear of getting hurt again, or your fear of the market turning against you, so you get out early, or you're afraid to get in because now you're hesitating, all that kind of stuff. But almost all the mistakes that are made from fear in one form or another. And so how do we deal with that? Well, we replace that fear with a deep knowing. Confidence is the counter to fear. I mean, think about it. Any situation, if you're fearful, it's because you're not confident about being able to deal with that situation, no matter what it is. But if you have confidence that you know how to deal with a particular situation, you don't have the fears. And so that's why it's really huge. So how do we accomplish this? Now, again, there's details that go into this, but from a higher level, first thing we want to do, we want to test our process just to make sure from a functional standpoint that it works the way we think it will. You'd be amazed how many traders, when I take them through this exercise and we just walk through their system, it's like, wow, no wonder this is hard to trade. No wonder you're having troubles here. No wonder, you get to this point, you're confused as to what, you don't know what to do. So the first thing we do is test it for functionality. The next thing we do is we establish a performance baseline. Once we've got it lined out and we know that it works the way we want it to, now we want to say, all right, how good is it the way we have it defined? So we establish that performance baseline. And then we dial it in for profitability. And through this process, now we can start to have confidence in it because we know that it's consistent, we know that it performs, we know that it can make money. Now you can have some confidence in it. And by doing this, we know down in our bones, nobody has to tell us, we're not going on claims or hopes or anything else. We know that our process is solid and it will deliver. Now, that's the second part. So the first one, stage one, got to have a consistent process. Step two, we got to have confidence in it. And some traders, they think, all right, yeah, that makes sense. I'm good to go. Well, and of course, then there's, the psychology crowd over here. Now, what we're going to talk about here is we're going to delve into the psychology of trading. And this is where it should get very enlightening for everybody. I hope it is, because this is a big deal. This is one where there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of false beliefs that keep people from moving forward with their trading. So stage three is mental conditioning for consistent execution. We got a process. We know that it works. Now we got to be able to execute it. If you can't execute it, the other two don't matter. Yeah, you have to have all three of these. So here's the thing: the psychology of trading, and what cracks me up. What most people think, is the psychology of trading is, it's some weird way. It's, your relationship with money, or, a lack of discipline or emotional control, or, oh my God, mommy said something to me when I was 5 years old that screwed me up for trading. I have to dig it out of my subconscious and resolve the trauma. And the thing is, and I'm not denying that are there traumatic experiences in everybody's childhood? Of course there are. We were children. There's a whole lot of stuff that was traumatic, but we've managed to get over it and get on with things. And see, here's the thing that kind of debunks a lot of that thinking. And if that's what you've been thinking, pay attention here. You have what it takes. As you are right now, you have what it takes to be a successful trader. You really do. You've demonstrated it. You've proven it. And here's what I'm talking about. Simply by the fact that you've been able to amass, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, however much money you've amassed to trade with, is proof positive that you are satisfactorily okay with all those things. Let me back up just a quick second. I mean, if seriously, if you've been able to amass $50,000 to trade with, obviously you're okay. Your relationship with money is reasonably good enough. You've been able to amass $50,000. You've been able to stay disciplined enough to amass $50,000. And obviously, whatever it is, childhood trauma you had, you were able to get over it sufficiently to amass $50,000 and show up as a trader. And so, again, just the fact that you're here demonstrates that you have what it takes. And that's cool. Now, here's another common misperception. And this is a misperception. I've gotten in arguments with other traders about this, but this is absolutely true. There's some traders that will swear up and down, they'll bet you money all day long that trading is inherently emotional. It does not have to be emotional. Here's the thing. Seriously, consider this. If you take a person of reasonable intelligence and ability, and you throw them into a challenging skill-based job, and they don't have any transferable skills, they don't have any education, they're going into it totally unprepared. They're going to go into that job and they may kind of get by, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be stressful. They're probably not going to get very good results. And there's no way that it will be nearly impossible for it not to be an emotional experience. That's just the nature of trying to do something that you don't have the skill set for. And the thing is, if you take that same person and you give them the proper training and preparation, then you put them in that job, they'll just go do their thing and they'll be fine. And I'm sure you've experienced this yourself, probably more than once, probably dozens of times in your life. Where, yeah, if you go into it and you're properly prepared, you've been, you know what you're doing. It's not an emotional ride. You just do your job. Now, here's the thing. What do you do for your day job? A lot of people who come to me are professionals, business owners, software engineers, project managers, chemical engineers. Traders on the whole are above average individuals. This is just not a place where your average Joe shows up. This is not a place where they hang out. The thing is, what you do for your day job, I guarantee you, is more sophisticated and more complicated than trading is. But you handle it just fine. I mean, when you go do your job, let's say, you're a project manager. Armando, he's a project manager. The job that he does is insane. And he handles it just fine. I mean, are some days stressful? Yeah, a little bit, of course, just because it's a lot to deal with. And are some days better than others? Sure. But it's nothing that keeps him up at night and has him all, distraught. But with trade, we're sitting there struggling and it's like, oh my God, I'm just constantly fighting with my emotions. And here's the thing. What you do in your day job, again, it's much more challenging than trading is, but you can handle it without any issue because you know what you're doing. With trading, it's the same thing. If you're struggling with it, if it's an emotional ride, if it's stressful, there's a lot of times you have anxiety, it's because you're missing something. And that's why it's rough. And the cool thing is when you do have the full range of skills for this job, and the skill set goes beyond being able to follow a strategy and place trades, there's more to it than that. When you have the full range of skills and you have a solid handle on this job, it becomes no different than any other job. And you can trade from a place of calm. Now, this one kind of offends some people sometimes when I bring it up, but it's the absolute truth. Seriously, trading has a certain level of skills and a range of skills that are required to be good at this and to where you can trade comfortably and just have fun. And you got such a solid handle. I mean, think about anything that you do that you're good at. It's fun and you're good at it and it's not rough. Trading is the same way. If you're struggling, it's because you're missing something. Now, here's the psychology of trading, what it really is. Here's why so many people really, and almost everybody in trading, outside of trading, successful. In trading, getting a butt kicked. And again, I'm not judging anybody. I went through it too. Like I said, I lost 47 grand. I mean, half the time I thought I was having a heart attack. But the thing is, the psychology of trading, it's not about you as a person. Again, you have the assets. You as a person, you're okay. Psychology of trading is about your trading experience and the damage that's occurred because you jumped into this and started trading with real money before you were properly prepared. It's that first year. I mean, I remember my first year. It was nuts. I took a look at this like everybody else. I took a look at trading. It's like, I get it. And I see what I'm supposed to do. I see how it works. but that doesn't make me a good trader. Anyway, so I jump into it and I'm just kind of, figuring it out as I go. But the problem is I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm kind of, trying to train myself. My broker wasn't much help. And so I'm sitting there every day, I'm trading away. I'm chasing trades. I'm trying this strategy. I'm trying that strategy, just trying to make some money. And I'm revenge trading. I'm angry trading. I'm changing my rules. I'm moving my stops. I'm not placing my stops all day long. I'm doing all kinds of stuff that it was just practicing bad trading. And it was bad mental conditioning that whole time. And the thing is, because I was basically training myself, I was my own limitation. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I couldn't see what I couldn't see. And so I wasn't able to work past it. It was only when I stepped back and I got some outside perspective, then I was able to move forward. And for me, it was my quality assurance. It was a friend of mine I had a conversation with. She said, Brian, at the plant, you crush it. You are an excellent quality engineer, and you can get consistent performance at everybody. You've done, excellent work there. Apply that to your trading. And when I did, and it's like, okay, this is how we get very intentional. We get very clear on what we're doing. We test it out. We develop a good, solid process. And now we're also going to bring in the mental conditioning. Because, see, the first thing, and here's where a lot of training goes wrong for traders. One of my clients just this week, it was really cold Monday, talking with Jim. He says, Brian, he says, I love what you're doing. And here's what I'm talking about. He said, I've been through all kinds of trainings. This guy's been trading since 2006. And he said, I've been through all kinds of training. And this one course that I signed up for, I had 2 3-inch binders worth of information. And it was just really impressive. I mean, this guy knew everything about trading, and it was really cool. And it was really interesting. But he says, I was looking at this and I got these 2 3-inch binders. And he said, the problem was there was a whole lot of information, but it really wasn't helping me become a better trader. It wasn't helping me affect my trading. He said, Brian, what you're doing is you're actually training me. You're making me do things, and not just sitting here taking in information. And the way he described it was, he said, I heard this phrase a while back. He says, there's telling, and then there's training. And telling is when somebody's just sharing information with you. Training is when somebody's actually making you a better person, a better trader. They're giving you different skills because they're training you. You're getting rewired through a different trading experience. And that is the huge psychology of trading. It's okay, let's take a look at what your trading experience has been. Because like I said, outside of trading, you're fine. It has to do everything is very specifically with trading. And so what we have to do to fix that, though, you can't think your way out of it. We have to change your experience. And that means doing things that you haven't done before. And
Yeah.
like I said, I was just going to wrap up anyway. So um, not a huge problem. Yeah, with Robert, his thing was his system was terrible and was a huge wrestling point for him. So we had to start him at stage one. And but like I said, as soon as we got through that part, it was like a huge boon for him just getting his process decent. Here's the thing, though, from a psychological standpoint, like I said, most of the psychology, trading psychology that you're dealing with are the patterns and the responses and the associations and perspectives that got wired into you in your early days of trading with real money when you didn't know, when you weren't prepared for this job, and all sorts of horrible normal things got established. And so the first thing we have to do is, we've got these patterns and associations. First thing we got to do is start or stop reinforcing the patterns of the past. So really, that's why I wanted to give you this gift. If you do nothing else but disrupt some of the counterproductive patterns that you currently are fighting against, then cool, I've done you a good service. Because if we can at least disrupt some of the things that are hurting your trading right now, cool. At least that opens the door and now cracks things open for better, and replacing the old stuff with new stuff. And so again, the link is in the chat. Um, and Dave, if you would maybe go ahead and pop that back in there again, just for everybody. Um, I'll do the same
Yeah.
thing.
I just posted.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that's I mean, really is the big deal. That's our starting point. We gotta have to stop repeating the past if we want to affect change. That's a huge deal. The next thing really is um, a couple of questions for you, and hopefully, did you find this helpful? Was it a good use of an hour of your time? And if you would also throw it in the chat, what did you get any good takeaways from this? Things that you can apply to your trading, and address some of the things that have been affecting your trading, keeping it from being fun. Um, Reading Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Yeah, I think if there's any trader on the planet that hasn't at least heard of his book, let alone read it, they need to get on with it. Yeah, that's like a classic book. But seriously, did you guys get any takeaways from it as far as when we were talking about process and your system being what you do? Um, if you got some good takeaways, yeah, gravely, yeah. Success is not, yeah, it is 10% system and strategy and 90% emotional control and discipline. Now, the thing is, as far as emotional control and discipline, again, a lot of it also is training and confidence. Because if you're working with a broken process or, there's issues or your confidence is shaky with it, if you just don't have that rock solid confidence in your system and in yourself trading it, those are going to present challenges for you from being able to execute. They really are. And so, beyond the emotional control and discipline, there are other psychological aspects. And the thing is, again, most of the stuff that we're dealing with as traders is coming from fear of one form or another, or a not knowing. So there's an anxiety there. I mean, like for Jim, the guy that I told you started back in 2006. He came to me because he was saying, Brian, when it comes time to exit the trade, half the time I'm sitting there and I don't know what to do. I'm in the middle of the trade and I know it's time to exit, but I'm mentally stuck here. And so he had that anxiety. And the guy's been trained since '06, like 19 years in this game. And he was still struggling with this. So you got to have all three. You really do. You got to have the consistent process. You have to have the confidence and knowing about your system that it's solid and will deliver. And you have to have the confidence in yourself as a trader executing it. And so you got to have, again, consistency, confidence, and then the conditioning to undo the damage of the past and rewire yourself so that you can execute consistently. So you don't have those old patterns, those old temptations, those old emotional responses that a lot of times are subconscious, the triggers. So you'll see something in the charts and it prompts this emotional response in you. We have to undo some of that, and you can't undo it by simple force of will. So I just need to be more disciplined. It's like, no, some of these things we have to work them out of you. And so there are processes for doing that. And that's what I loved about being, as a quality manager. I was working with processes for people and training and all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, you have to get rid of your ego. Yeah. Um, Now, here's the thing. Like I said, once you have the full skill set, now you can go trade with confidence, with poise, and the emotions just calm down. You don't have to fight them anymore because you're trading from a position of knowing, a position of clarity, a position of confidence, and knowing that you're controlling yourself. And you don't have to worry about the markets because you know how to respond to the markets. The market's going to do whatever they're going to do. They don't care about you. They're not out to get you. They don't care. They don't care about any of us. It's the markets. And so all we can really do is focus on what we're doing, making sure that we're consistent in what we do, and that we know how to respond to what the market presents us. But we have to do it from a knowing and a very intentional perspective. We can't just sit there and jump into it saying, I see the market moving. I want to, make some money. There's some money being made over there. It's like, no, we have to get very intentional about it. And the more intentional and more clear about it and approaching it from a skill-based and a business-like calculated manner, that's when things start getting easy. That's the thing. So many traders, I love the phrase. I used to keep it on the door of my quality lab back at the plant, is so many people wish that things were easier. And Jim Rohn, he says, don't wish that it was easier, wish that you were better. And the thing is, when you focus on yourself and developing the skills and perspectives and understandings that you need to be a solid trader, that's when trading gets easy. And that's the best thing about it. So many traders, they want to take the shortcut. It's like, oh, there's this cool strategy. I'll just use the strategy. And they're focusing on the strategy, not on themselves. When you focus on yourself as a trader, then you can start using whatever you want. and still make money with it. And that's the best thing about it. Plus, if you're using somebody else's strategy, it may or may not be 100% good match for you. And any conflicts that you have with a strategy that you're using, if there's something inside of you that just kind of doesn't agree with it, that's an internal conflict that, again, is going to leave you open for self-sabotage. So you want to be working with something that totally resonates with you. And as far as your strategy, you want to have something that totally resonates with you, that you just plain you believe in it, you're comfortable with it. And comfort zones is another one that's hilarious. Um, excuse me. It really is, because some traders, they say trading is emotional, and the thing is, if you're trading outside your comfort zones, by definition, you are in an emotional state. It's only by expanding your comfort zones through expanding yourself and your understandings that now your comfort zones, you can operate within your comfort zones and make good money. You can trade big enough that you're making satisfactory money, but you have to be within your comfort zones. If you're outside your comfort zones because you're lacking skills or understanding or whatever, by definition, you're in an emotional state, and then you're just constantly in this fight with your emotions. So the easiest way to do it is focus on yourself, becoming more capable, more skilled, more a trader with better understanding, better depth. Then it gets easy. And that's what's really cool. And it's a transformation. Like I said, it's skills. This is something you don't have to worry about, trying to figure out what, subconscious thing was you picked up in your childhood. It's like, no, this is a skill set. You're okay as you are. This is something you can learn. And in a couple of months, you would be amazed at the turnaround. And so anyway, thank you everybody for being here. I know it's time to turn it over to, I guess, Price. Hey, like, cool. I appreciate everybody for being here. When you swing by, go to the link. When you come to the site, pick this up. It's free. It's 10 things you can do in the next 20 minutes, including taking time to read the guide. But it's things that you can do to affect your trading. And again, it's free. And on that page, when you were, for the download, there's also a link where you can book a call with me if you want. If you want to talk about your trading, what's going on with you, I'd be more than happy to help you out. If I'm the person to help you, cool. If it's somebody else that you need, I know plenty of traders in the psychology space. I've got an excellent hypnotherapist that I work with. She's awesome. Send a lot of people her way. And so, if I'm not the person to help you, if it's not, this kind of stuff that you need help with, cool. I have good colleagues in the space that are of high integrity that I can direct you to so that you can get the help you need and actually move the needle with your trading. So if you want to book a call, cool. And with that, I guess we probably ought to go ahead and wrap things up unless anybody else has got any other questions. If you have any questions about, what we talked about today, go ahead and pop them in the chat, and we're going to address them. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and take a short break before Price Headley comes on. So anybody got any questions? If you do, pop them in. Otherwise, thank everybody for being here. Again, I applaud you for pursuing the growth and development and learning. And I wish you the best in your trading. If I can be of service to you, swing by InsideOutTrading.com. Thanks.